So since it's been a while, you don't think that they think that we're dead, right? Like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is David.
And this is Salome.
And welcome to Something Old, Something New, the podcast where we choose two films, one old, one new, and have something in common. And what that is depends on the film. Now, this episode, and we do apologize that it's been a while since the last episode. We apologize for that, but we are on the eve of the 92nd Academy Awards, and I'm a big Oscar junkie. I used to be back in the day, but it's sort of been kind of dwindling as, you know...
as marriage went on.
Well, as life falls into...
Blame the wife. Blame the wife.
Blame the wife. But no, I still love watching the Oscars, and, you know, it's just the ceremony, getting into that should have won.
The glamour, the drama.
That sort of thing. And What we're going to do is we're going to have this in two parts. And that is, one, we're going to go over the nominees for the most part, who we think is going to win, who we prefer to win, who do we think was snubbed. And then we'll follow this up with our reactions to the winners, to the ceremony overall.
The ceremony's this Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, because we're recording this on the eve. We're Friday.
Gotta get down on Friday.
Exactly. So let's just jump into it. Well, the one big thing that came out once again was Oscars. You was so white.
You know, it's funny because, every year Oscars is always so white.
Except last year they kind of did, with Black Panther and Black Klansman.
Kind of. Again, but now it's kind of so white, but even then it's still so white.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we've talked about is, even though, yes, it is pretty much white and pretty much male dominant, there is such a... I'm excited about this year because the potential of where Hollywood could be headed when it comes to diversity in at least their storytelling.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I particularly love this year of all the could have been potential nominees.
Yeah.
Some nominees who actually, like I said, were nominated. So let's get into it because we got thoughts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So to begin with, let's jump into well, here's the thing: is I believe that all of the acting categories, that I don't think we're going to have any surprises come when they announce who wins for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. But let's go into the first category, and that's Best Supporting Actor. We have Anthony Hopkins, The Two Popes, category fraud, Al Pacino, The Irishman, Joe Pesci, The Irishman, Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could be considered category fraud, maybe, but I'm slightly more forgiving.
I don't give a shit about category fraud, honestly, but that's just to each their own.
And Tom Hanks, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, once again, that gray area, but I think he's more supporting.
That one's very obvious that he's supporting, though. Even though, yes, that was a movie about Mr. Rogers. It wasn't about Mr. Rogers. It was about the guy who wrote the article about Mr. Rogers.
It's not about Mr. Rogers. And I want to get this right off the bat. If I just get a little mini rant, that is this. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood was one of the best films of 2019, and it's a shame it only received one nomination for Tom Hanks' wonderful performance, justly deserved. But I think you could have easily slipped in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That I think that some of the films nominated in terms of picture, directing, and screenplay, I think that Mara Heller's direction definitely deserved to be nominated over a couple of the people nominated here. But
yeah, we'll get there.
But for supporting actor, to get it out of the way, these are all putting aside category fraud, that these are a bunch of solid, performances.
Yes. I honestly, with all these movies, I was not bored by any of their performances. And that, for me personally, how I am, that's rare to say. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, you're fine. Yeah. But with all of these, I was just like, damn, you were fine. Yeah, you were good, you know?
And that's not considering, some of the other actors who, weren't even nominated that year. Nominated this year, rather. But I think of the five, it's a shoo-in. I think everybody agrees it's going to go to Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt has been winning all the stuff that he's been nominated in so far, right?
He's won the British Academy Award. He's won the Golden Globe. He's won the Screen Actor Guild. He's pretty much all set. But the
I think it's well deserving, though. I mean, like,
well,
don't you think in this category, personally, like, any of these people can, like, if they win, we're like, yeah, like, okay, cool, like, we're okay with it.
But the thing about it is that Anthony Hopkins has an Oscar, Al Pacino has an Oscar, Joe Pesci has an Oscar, Brad Pitt actually has an Oscar for producing,
But not
12
for
years,
acting.
No, but for producing 12 Years a Slave, and Tom Hanks has 2 Oscars. So essentially, all 5 of these are going to be like, well, we're already our Oscar winners. Let's just have fun and get some beer afterwards.
Yeah, but okay, like, but putting that aside, because honestly, the one thing I hate doing when it's looking at like the nominees and stuff is seeing their past nominations and winnings, because at the end of the day, for me, I don't give a shit if you won an award before. It's like, okay, you were nominated again for this particular performance. Do you feel any of these were not deserving?
To be nominated?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that...
Except, but don't talk about category fraud. No, we're going to put that out the window, because I don't think that's relevant.
Well, I do think it is relative in the sense that it's like, I mean,
Okay,
it's called the 2 popes.
Well, I mean, how...
He's one of the 2. It's in the title, the 2 popes. He's a second pope, you know. But
maybe one pope is more important than the other. I don't know.
But it's still,
there's one that actually isn't really that liked.
2 popes, but of these is that, and to be honest, is that, I mean, it's a wash, because like I said, they've all won before, and the thing is that these are 5 of my favorite actors. But if I had to choose, if I was a voter, I would have voted for what may be the best performance of his career, and that's Joe Pesci in The Irishman. Pesci coming out of retirement is showing that, because the thing was, Pesci went into retirement because he kept getting typecast as, you know, these Tommy DeVito characters, you motherfucker, you know, those type of guys. And here he goes, and he is just so quietly menacing.
He scared the shit out of me in this movie. And I mean, like, it's so, okay, I will not disagree with you when you say that was his best performance of his career. From what I've seen, I'm sure there's movies of his that I haven't seen yet, but from what I've seen so far, this is one that still lingers. Mm-hmm. Like, the feeling he gave me. Like, I'm like, I don't want to piss you off, man. Like, yeah. But like, he's so fucking good in this movie.
And what's so brilliant about it is that he doesn't do it like the way that people think Pesci's going to do it, and that's fly off the handle. He does it very quietly, like when he tells...
Under the radar.
Yeah, when he's talking to... when his character's talking to Frank, when Russell's talking to Frank about Jimmy... It's just that, you know, it's like, for me, the moment that sticks with me is just the moment he goes, you know, not like this, and just shakes his head. Mm-hmm. And it's just so, and like I said, it's so quiet in how it's a very...
It's not overly dramatic like what people think he usually does.
Yeah.
But even then, the overly dramatic is done on purpose for other movies, which were amazing. So it's not, I don't mean it to say that, he's an over-dramatic actor. No, that's not what I mean. It's like, it serves the purpose of the story and his character. So.
Yeah, exactly. So...
But I agree. Like, when it comes to me, I think Joe Pesci you know what? Here's the thing, though. This is hard. For me, it's honestly between Brad Pitt and Joe Pesci. If either of those 2 win, even though I think Brad Pitt's going to win. But, you know, if it was like, if we didn't know, whatever, like they were both equal, I would not hate it. Both of them were my favorite performances of the year. And
also, and just as a fast forward to next year's Oscars, because coming out of the Sundance Film Festival was Anthony Hopkins' critically lauded, acclaimed performance in a film called The Father, also starring Olivia Colman. So don't be surprised if you hear Anthony Hopkins' name floating around. Of course, then fast forward a year later, I'll be like, well, guess who was wrong? But
we don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah. And then let's go into supporting actress. And once again, same boat. I mean, here's the thing. All of the actors have won, who we think are the front runners, have all won the Golden Globe, the Screen Actor Guild Award, and the British Academy Award.
All right, let's see. Let's go down the list. So, supporting actress, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh?
Pugh?
Pooh? How do you say her last name?
Pugh.
Okay, for Little Women.
I think like Pugh instead of Pew.
Oh, I don't know. And Margot Robbie for Bombshell. I already know who you think is gonna win and who has been winning so far.
It's once again, it's going to be Laura Dern. I'll be shocked if it's anybody besides Laura Dern. I mean, maybe an offhand chance that they might give it to Scarlett Johansson because
who is my personal favorite choice, honestly, for this category.
And actually, we'll get there in a second, but I think that may be her because she's double nominated, and maybe they might be like throw her a bone. But for me, I don't. Of all these actresses, it's Kathy, because Kathy Bates has already won. But with Laura Dern, I know how beloved she is, and it feels like it's her time. That here's this wonderfully reliable actress who's just always been there, and she's coming off of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. She's coming off of Big Little Lies, where she won an Emmy for that. She's definitely more in the news.
See, but that's what okay, now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get into this towards the end of it, but I'm just going to mention a little bit quick now. I hate the politics behind the Oscars, and if that's how the way of thinking when it comes to like, oh, you know, she's doing great in Big Little Lies, she's doing this and that, and that. It's like, no, we're voting based on only this performance. So I hate it when other people are saying that, but look at all the other stuff she's done. Okay, great, good for her. But we're talking about this specifically and not saying that she did bad or anything. She did great. It's just like, I didn't think it was like, okay, but like for you to really win instead of Scarlett Johansson or the girl from Little Women,
Florence Pugh.
Florence.
She was also coming off a great year as well. Her performance in Midsummer, and also when she played Paige in that wrestling film as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, good for her. But I'm saying, like, but she did good in Little Women. That's like the only thing I wish people would focus on instead of the other stuff. Like, now if you want to talk about them when it comes to their range as an actress, then obviously we'll mention all that stuff because it's very valid. But we're only talking about this movie, and it always makes me mad when people just.
Yeah.
It's like, no, vote for this movie. So if basing it on that, I think Scarlett Johansson should win.
But then again, of course, the funny thing is that also, once again, I mean, it's so funny that it's like, because like these four, Laura Dern, Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, and Margot Robbie, they've all had, great years. I mean, that's what they all had in common, But
man, I don't care. I want Scarlett to win, and I'm very upset that Laura Dern's going to win. Because I know she's gonna win, and she did fine. Like she okay, not fine. She did great with what she did, but comparing it to Scarlett Johansson, even the impact within the movie and everything, I'm just like, oh, Scarlett hit it out of the park for me.
Of these ones of the nominated, well, I can definitely tell you that the three, I mean, like I said, that Dern's performance, because here's the other thing about it, what I like about all five of these performances is that they are, I mean, maybe Margot Robbie is a little questionable, but they're all legitimate supporting performances. They're not like co-leads or anything to that effect. Like they are like they represent the category, the supporting actress category. That makes me happy. But then again, it's sort of like with Laura Dern. It's like I think about her performance in Little Women, her scene that she has with oh god, watch as I butcher the pronunciation of her name, Saoirse Ronan's character with Joe, when she talks about how she's angry all the time, and it's just you watch that and you go, my god, Laura is so good. I think I might prefer her in Little Women as opposed to Marriage Story.
Agreed. I 100% agree.
But I think the big one, that everyone talked about how she was snubbed, and I wholeheartedly agree, is Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence? No, she didn't even make a movie. Well, whatever she did. No, she did that X-Men movie, but she basically...
That's not... Anyways.
But no, Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers.
Yes. First of all, the movie in general was snubbed.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get into that when we get to other categories to talk about. But yes, specifically when it comes to this one, this is the performance of J-Lo's career. Yep. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. And it's like, I know the only fucking reason she was snubbed is because people always gave her shit about the acting career that she had before.
Or that she's J-Lo.
That she's J-Lo or whatever. That she's this big name that's just beyond acting. It's, a whole bunch of other stuff. But the thing is, it's like, the way she performed in this movie and being able to, oh God, there was this one scene where, at first, like, she's your friend, you love her, like, the character, and then this fucking turn, and for J-Lo to, like, my skin literally just gave me goosies just thinking about this one thing, scene, when she completely turns on her co-business partner. You remember that scene?
Constance Wu,
With Constance Wu, yeah. Like, I was like, fucking hell, J-Lo, like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God. So for her to be snubbed, one, of course, snub a woman of color, bitches. You was like, I'm so
I
mad.
like the dramatic pause there, very like Shatnerian or Christopher Walken-esque.
You're welcome. But it's like, why the fuck wasn't she nominated? It's like, why not?
Well, the one thing is that there was a couple theories floating around. One of them being is that the character that she's playing, because the thing is that in terms of she's playing a stripper, but she's playing a beautiful stripper who, until the end of the movie, she has a level of control for the most part. Mm-hmm. And Oscar photos don't like that. It's like they want to see suffering. That's what they want to see. They want to see you get deglamorized. They got to put you. You cannot be beautiful.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, first of all, towards the end of the movie, you see her suffering, but the fact is, and J-Lo played it so brilliantly that this woman is so fucking hardcore that she doesn't want to show you she's suffering, right? So, but there's this moment where she's like, kind of like she's just tight all over, and you can just tell how tense she is, and the fact that it's like, she had this fucking glamorous life, and now she's fucking working at where? Like, where was she working? Like, it's a fucking, like, convenience store or some shit? Mm-hmm. I can't remember, but it's like, the way she acted, it was just like, I lost all this shit, but I'm still gonna be a hardcore bitch. Yeah. But I'm fucking suffering inside. So for the Oscar committee or whatever the fuck you guys are called,
the acting branch,
I don't give a motherfucking shit no more. For you guys to just diss my girl J-Lo this way, I hope y'all smell stinky farts for the rest of your life.
Oh,
fuck
geez.
you guys. No.
So. Yeah, but the thing is, if anyone who wants to listen to more of our opinions on Hustlers, definitely go check out in the archives of SOSN podcast, where you can see us compare and contrast Hustlers with Showgirls. And also, because I agree with Jennifer Lopez, in fact, off the top of my head, I think she would have been my personal choice for Best Supporting Actress, even though technically, I know, once again, going to the whole, is it a co-lead or not? Hustlers is Constance Wu's story. She's the lead. Therefore, Jennifer Lopez is supporting. Get out of the way.
It's funny. I prefer J-Lo to be nominated, but I still would have voted for Scarlett. But I want J-Lo to have the nomination.
She should have been. Jennifer Lopez should have been nominated over Kathy Bates. It's like, it's easy.
Here's the thing, though. Kathy is just great in everything. So she should have just been nominated in everything she does. So let's just, whatever. You know what I mean?
It kind of feels like a waste of a nomination,
Which is so sad to say, because it's like, again, Kathy Bates is always so good in what she does that kind of does a disservice to her acting abilities, in the sense of like, okay, you always do good, so this is just like any other performance, so why get nominated, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of
Which
course.
is so sad. But anyways, I totally get what you're saying.
But I have to then quickly mention, because the one thing that's like, as a sidebar, usually like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all these type of websites and such, they talk to the anonymous Oscar voters. And these are the ones who, some of them are not, they're like, they're not PC, and they could say whatever it is they want, and they're anonymous. And they are, I just quickly sidebar, when it comes to this, Jennifer Lopez, like one particular Oscar voter went out and was like, fuck J-Lo. And it's like, this is the person who is allowed to vote the Oscars. But then I want to also bring this up as well. And that is to bear in mind, these are the people who vote for the Oscars, right?
Right. Not just people leaving shit on the internet. These are actual Oscar voters.
They not only do they nominate the movies, whoever the category they're in, whether they're producers or actors or musicians, they also will vote for the winners. Now, for example, one Oscar voter said, Parasite is beautifully done, but it didn't hold up a second time, and I don't think foreign films should be nominated with the regular films.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, so...
Get what?
Yeah, so that means that, all the films that were directed by Ingmar Bergman, Federico Fellini,
Guillermo del
Francois Truffaut... It's like the list...
The Three Amigos, pretty much.
Alfonso Cuarón. The list goes on and on and on and on
Are
and on.
you fucking kidding? Oh, I have not heard that. You did not tell me about that one. Oh, I'm pissed.
Yeah, Mikhail Haneke.
Pisses me off.
It's just the list goes... It's endless of all these foreign... these films made by international directors in their own language. Here they are, they're making these movies and that have influenced some of our greatest American directors. That you will hear Spielberg come out and say that if it wasn't for a director like Ingmar Bergman, that I wouldn't be who I am today. And it isn't just him. It's like even Guillermo del Toro himself will talk about like all the directors and such. So to say a film is not a regular movie because it's in a language different than your own.
First of all, that
is ignorant.
Just putting it lightly. Like that just comes to show, first of all, a commentary in just where we are in the nation, but specifically the industry, because one, we know how media is so influential with just our culture in general. So having that so deep rooted within the Oscars, which is something so influential that people watch all the time, y'all wonder why America doesn't like diversity is because of shit like that.
Yep.
Like, these people have the power to like show what America wants, quote unquote, but not really, because they're not a big representation of what's so beautiful out there.
Yep.
So a foreign film to not be considered a quote unquote regular film, it's like the only thing that's different from something that you are used to is the language, the way it's produced, the way it's shot, the way, like, you know, the camera, the cinematography, that's all the fucking same. The only thing that's different is the language.
Yeah.
So it's like, to have these Oscar voters be, first of all, closed-minded, and then they're allowed to be openly closed-minded to vote. That is complete bullshit. For people to say shit like that, I hope that the committee or where the fuck is like
the Oscar branch,
the
governors
will find them and be like, you know what? You are not allowed to vote. You are now revoked from this shit because you are so close-minded that you are being discriminatory and not really seeing things for what they actually are. I got mad.
It's one of those where it's like, even though I don't think he deserves to win for this performance, but but the thing is that Joaquin Phoenix is the reason why I like seeing Joaquin Phoenix win is because he goes up on stage and he says what I want to be heard, you know?
Yeah, especially in the BAFTAs, like what he said. Oh my God, let me pull it up. Yeah, keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, because the thing is with Joaquin Phoenix, with him saying those statements as such, is that he's calling them out on their BS, and I hope that he calls them out, and I don't know if he'll be able to say this about that Oscar voter, but I hope he would shun them, shame on them. Like, shame on them. And also, in particular, it's like, one of his fellow nominees is Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory. That's a foreign language film. Spain, Pedro Almodovar. And I don't know about you, but Pedro Almodovar has just as much of a right to say his viewpoints on life, on sexuality, on being a man, women's, all that stuff. He has as much of a right as a Scorsese, as a Tarantino. Yeah. The list goes on and on.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
I would agree.
I will disagree with you in the part where you don't think that Joaquin should win for his performance, because I personally loved his performance. However, I see that your choice that you prefer is Adam Driver. But let's go back to what Joaquin Phoenix said with it at the BAFTAs. This is just a little snippet. He said, I feel conflicted because so many of my fellow actors that are deserving don't have the same privilege. I think that we send a very clear message to people of color that you're not welcome here. I think that the message that we are sending to people that have contributed so much to our medium and our industry in ways that we benefit from. I don't think anybody wants a handout or preferential gracias, treatment, although that's what we give ourselves every year. I think people want to be appreciated and respected for their work. He acknowledged that he views himself as part of the problem. I have not done everything in my power. Not all sets I've worked are inclusive. So, like, that's one big reason why you say that you want him to win, for he can start bringing this into light, saying that it's like, there were so many great performances of people of color out there. Why were they not nominated? And like, don't nominate them because they are people of color, but it's like, you are excluding them because they are people of color, though. And they were so worthy of being nominated along with these people that why weren't they?
Yeah, and and that goes into the acting categories again. In the supporting categories, I think you could argue that any of the cast members of Parasite deserve to be nominated for supporting actor or supporting actress. And it's just which then, of course, that's another tidbit that pointed out, and that is you look at films that are Asian centric that were nominated for Best Picture. We're talking like The Last Emperor, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Slumdog Millionaire. In this case, Parasite. None of the actors were nominated in any of the categories.
Yep.
So we got that as well. So it's sort of like they said that Oscars have like a women's problem. They sure do. They have a black problem. They certainly do. They also have an Asian problem, and we're talking like towards actors who are Indian, actors who are Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese. The list goes on and on, because let's not forget another movie called The Farewell that came out.
Yep,
that was also critically acclaimed.
Yep.
That was also snubbed as well.
And people think that Awkwafina should have been nominated. Also, another supporting actress that we feel, well, actually, you know what? No, I think she's not supporting actress. Never mind. When we get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many people snubbed, and like you said, fuck this shit.
Yeah, because this thing, it does matter. It does mean something to me because they are given the privilege to go and vote. And you're thinking like the best of the best. And the thing is that this matters because we see a good chunk of the movies that were released in 2019. There's been stories reported where Oscar voters will go, well, I just give the ballot to my reporter, or I just I work with that one person in the movie, therefore, or they will do what we discussed in regards to Laura Dern, and not taking away anything from her performance. They will just based off the fact of I like her or I know her.
Yep.
And it's a bit of a shame, but. Let's move on to Best Actress. We have Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, who's trying to go for that Oscar to complete her EGOT. Mm-hmm. You got Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story. You've got Saoirse Ronan. Oh, God, I butchered that up. For Little Women, which is her 4th nomination. Very good for somebody turned 25.
She's so good.
You got Charlize Theron for Bombshell. And the one who is running away with it, Renee Zellweger for Judy. And
I can tell you somebody who should have been fucking in that list right now.
It's, because the thing is for me is that, technically I would vote for Saoirse Ronan, if not Scarlett Johansson, one of those two, but...
Ronan all the way for me.
Yeah.
Where's Lupita Nyong'o, though?
There we go.
Where's she?
For me, the category's a wash because Lupita Nyong'o was not nominated.
And she would have been my choice for winning. Mm-hmm. First of all, 2 completely different actors, performances in one. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, no one has ever scared me that bad. I was so freaked out with her performance in such a good way. She was so good, so good. How can you not nominate her?
Well, they found a way.
Right.
Well, think of it this way. They went with Harriet, which is, biopic.
Which
prestige.
Is, yeah, I get that.
You got Marriage Story, which I would argue is more based. I'd say it was definitely critically acclaimed. Harriet wasn't. Little Women was critically acclaimed, but the fact that she's got that reputation going. Charlize Theron, I would argue that one was more based off of maybe the makeup and as opposed to the performance itself. And with Zellweger, well, that's because it's not only makeup, but it's a comeback role for her because she's been gone for a while, and she's playing a real life person in Judy Garland, iconic Hollywood legend Judy Garland. Mm. But for me, it's just a wash because there's no Lupita Nyong'o, and so quite frankly, it's like I don't want to see Renee Zellweger win a second Oscar because I think that she's, for me, honestly, she's not the type of actor who's deserving of 2 awards.
But if you're talking about specifically this performance,
like I said, I just don't care because Lupita isn't. She was nominated.
Well, here's the thing: that Lupita and Ronan, both of them are so phenomenal. Mm-hmm. In their roles that I would have liked either of them to win, but Lupita, why? That is for me one ultimate snub. That one was just them saying "fuck you."
Yeah,
pretty much.
It just goes into the Oscars. Just they don't care for horror movies. They just don't. Which is is representing the fact that The Lighthouse only received 1 nomination, where I think that you could have,
Yeah, what was it nominated?
Just for its cinematography.
Which I feel extremely deserved. Oh my God. Out of all the movies that we've watched this last year, that one is the one that stuck to me the most visually. The cinematography in that movie is so outstanding and beautiful and wickedly clever. I'm just like, what the hell? Yeah.
And I know it's not the most popular thing to say, but because let's jump into cinematography. Because for Best Actress, it's whatever.
No, let's go to Best Actor first, and then we'll get to the other one. But
because we just jumped on cinematography, just a very quick one, and that is because everyone's expecting Roger Deakins, and we're predicting he's going to win his 2nd Oscar in his legendary career for his work on 1917, where the conceit of it is that it's all done in one shot as you follow our protagonists as they go and try to warn the British Army, hey, careful there, you gotta call off the attack. But to be honest, call the attack, man.
There's a little more urgency, but yes.
But But honestly, I prefer the images of the lighthouse over 1917. And that's not to take away Roger Deakins' work on there to get that done right. And it's one of those where it's like they had to wait to get the lighting right. And if it's ruined, they got to go back and redo it all over again. I admire that greatly. But in terms of which of the movies, in terms of cinematography, better suited the story, was more memorable, it's the images of the lighthouse that have stayed with me, that I remember those images far more than 1917.
But the funny thing is, I think one of the only reasons why it really was more on top than the other ones is because it was in black and white. I wonder if the effect would have been I still think the effect would have been great, but I wonder if it would have hit just the same if it was in color. But I don't mean that in a bad way to knock it down. But it's it visually was. If it was in color, I think I would have chosen 1917. But because it was shot in black and white, it felt like it served the story even more than it enhanced how beautiful the cinematography was. It enhanced it more.
Yeah, because the thing is with the lighthouse and cinematography, black and white, it's because sometimes when people shoot in black and white, it's sometimes they're like, oh, it's just shooting in black and white. Well, why? Well, because.
Yeah.
Okay, it feels more like a gimmick, but in this case,
German
with the lighthouse, with the lighthouse, it felt right for its story.
Yeah, it didn't throw me off. It didn't kind of take me out of the story, because there has been a few movies where film noir or whatever type of movie, but for some reason, because it's shot in black and white, it throws me off a little bit. It's like you're trying too hard type of thing. And in this one, like you said, it was so smoothly done that it's just you kind of don't realize you're watching a black and white movie, which is weird.
Yeah, because what's so brilliant about black and white cinematography when it's done the right way is because unless you're colorblind or what have you, you're only seeing black and white, that the world is in color. The world isn't in black and white. And so when you see these movies, whether they're old movies or movies made nowadays that are filmed in black and white, that it gives it that otherworldly quality, that you are literally stepping, even if it is a world where everything is, real. There aren't any, flying dragons or anything to that effect. But black and white cinematography helps create that fantastical mood. It brings you into that world. And in the case of The Lighthouse, it definitely helps set that. Now, Baby Bear, as I call her. So read the best actor in a leading role.
Let us see. Where is it?
It's right yonder.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Best actor in a leading role.
Richard
Antonio Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. I can't talk today. Adam Driver for Marriage Story. Oh, wait. Am I reading the wrong thing, babe?
Oh, no, you're reading it right.
Oh, you're pointing at something else. I don't know why.
No, it's because for some reason this list had DiCaprio. It's like, it's my OCD, and it's like, why is DiCaprio down there? He needs to be up there.
Okay, well, anyways, stop throwing me off. So, Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory, Adam Driver, Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes, and Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So...
This was a stacked year for Best Actor in a leading role.
They were all amazing.
Who were snubbed.
I personally loved Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker, and so I am not hating the fact that he's going to win. Leo, there's certain scenes that I thought he hit it out of the ballpark, but overall, I'm just okay, okay, you did good. But I preferred Brad Pitt over you, but it was Leo that was more of a scene stealer for me in certain things. But anyways. Yes. Yeah, exactly. The scene where he was in the trailer, that was by far my favorite scene. And then the one where he had the little girl on his lap and he was doing the scene over and over. Oh, yeah. He's so fucking good. But I do love Adam Driver in Marriage Story. He was so good in that movie.
He would be, I could say Adam Driver would have been my vote of the nominees, and he would also be my vote, period, and not just because of you had a great year. Yes, he did, but the fact is that no performance affected me as strongly as his work in that movie. That he is so moving and so touching, but how he's able to show off his hurt and his slow burn towards the anger. But in particular, it's I just love the scene towards the end where he's there's this beautiful moment between where you cut between both characters, where Scarlett Johansson and her mom and sister are singing, from Company, and then Adam Driver's at a bar and he's singing the song from Company, Being Alive. I believe that's the title of the song. And how he starts it off as very comical, goofy, and he's about to sit down, and then there's that turn, and he goes and he sings it, and it's just, it's my personal favorite acting scene. Now, Joaquin Phoenix is the front runner, and the thing is that
most likely will win.
And the thing is, it's a good performance, but I'll just pretend that he's winning for one of his other, past performances.
But why? Like he was still good enough at the Joker to win.
Well, it's just because I think that there are other actors who are better, like the aforementioned Lighthouse. I think that Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe were better than him. I think Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems was better. I think Robert De Niro in The Irishman was better.
Which I'm actually surprised De Niro was snubbed. I'm so surprised. He made the movie. Like, I'm so surprised he was snubbed on that one.
Yeah, but I to be honest,
I'm not angry that he was snubbed, but at the same time, I'm surprised.
I'm disappointed in him being snubbed. But I think the reason why is because of all of the actors in the film who had the the CGI visual effects work to de-age him. Mm-hmm. He had the most, where you see him from the 1940s up until the early aughts, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so he goes through a number of that, and I think that for a lot of folks, maybe they considered the visual effects as a distraction. Mm-hmm. But us personally, we didn't mind that at all. I mean, there are those little questionable moments where you can kind of tell, okay, that's a little here and there, but overall, I mean,
it was very, very well done. When it comes to the actor category, a big name that's floating around that was snubbed is Eddie Murphy, and My Name is Dolomite.
Yeah, Dolomite is my name.
Oh,
yes,
sorry, I got that name wrong.
That is another one who I think Eddie Murphy was better in that movie than Joaquin Phoenix.
Eddie Murphy was amazing, and that is the comeback performance of Eddie Murphy right there. So
is that his third or fourth comeback performance?
I don't know, but it's one that was actually good.
Because let's think of it, and it's no offense to you, Eddie, but The Nutty Professor was a comeback performance.
I love that movie so much.
Then Dreamgirls was a comeback performance.
I love that movie.
And then Dolomite is My Name is his comeback. So he literally, in the 90s, the aughts, and then the teens, he has had a comeback in each day.
That is true.
Passed through these 3 days.
But hey, each comeback was a pretty good comeback, though.
Yeah. Even though I don't care for Dreamgirls, I can't deny he was great in that movie. In Nutty Professor, he was great, and he proved it once again in Dolomite. He's great once again. Yeah. And that's another movie that got snubbed, because you could easily put that in there in makeup and hairstyling.
Yes.
Or costume design.
Definitely costume design. Definitely. That I had so much fun watching the costume designs, the sets, the whole vibe, the whole film, and just seeing how Eddie Murphy shined. When you watch this movie, you do see why he's as big as he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for those categories, when it comes to, like you said, makeup and hair design, and even production design, me personally, why isn't it there? I'll tell you why. Because
racist bastards.
Yeah. Exactly, because Oscar's so white.
Probably got confused. Why do I want to see a movie about that? Why do I want to see a movie about Dole Whip or some stupid shit? I don't know. These people are idiots.
I know, but
let's go.
No offense to the ones who actually vote for people of color, but
yes,
or at least just actual talent.
Yeah, no offense to the people who actually think with the vote. So let's take a stab at the screenplay categories, because we got Best Adapted Screenplay. We've got The Irishman. We've got Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. And of those nominees, it's for I thought that maybe it would be more competitive between Jojo, Little Women, and The Irishman. The Irishman has been totally tanking at the Oscars. Not at the Oscars, but the previous award ceremonies. The Irishman could go 0 for 10.
I think I know why.
Why is that?
It's too long. It became too long that it became the bad kind of Oscar bait, I think. And also it's too prestigious that it's we expect this from Scorsese, so whatever.
But isn't it kind of bullshit?
And that's sad. Exactly. It goes into what I said earlier, that with Kathy Bates, that she's so good at what she does that we're well, we expect this of you, so you didn't blow us out of the park because you always blow us out of the park, that we're used to that feeling, so you need to do something extra. So it's so that sucks.
And it felt that way with The Irishman, because the fact of how surprisingly quiet of a movie it was. It's I mean, Scorsese proved once again that he is the best director not only working today, but probably the best director who's ever lived.
But he needs to challenge himself, though. It was like he constantly does make good work, but do something that's different that wows us to makes us remember that you are someone who challenges, and it's just consistently what he does. It's so weird to explain what I'm trying to say, but
I'd argue to say that he has been consistently challenging
of the
himself.
same thing.
That I think Hugo, for example, came out like almost 10 years ago. That's definitely a challenge. Making a 3D children's family entertainment film. Silence was a challenge as well for him.
I forgot about Silence. I fucking love that movie.
So it's
but when it comes to adaptive screenplay, I personally think for me my favorite one out of all of them is Jojo Rabbit. Hands down, so different, something that should have failed but didn't, and it was so cleverly funny, but also being able to show just how hideous racism can be and how it can brainwash a child and destroy a family, destroy worlds, destroy lives, but be so funny and clever about it.
I think that's how the Oscar voters are going to. I think they're going to go more for like the premise as opposed to the quality per se. Because I would say
you don't think the quality of Jojo Rabbit's good enough to win?
I'm going to say this: JoJo's got a good script. The Irishman's got a better script. But the one for me that I would vote for in a heartbeat is Little Women. How Greta Gerwig took that novel and going back and adapting it in such giving it a new fresh paint of coat, a breath of fresh air in terms of the structure, going back and forth between the past and the present, and then in particular how the movie ends, which we will not spoil because we want you to go see this movie if you haven't already because of how brilliant it is and how she does it. For me, in terms of the category itself, it's best adapted screenplay or best screenplay adaptation form, or however you want to put it. So I have to think about it in terms of the source material, and in terms of an adaptation, no screenplay did a better job in terms of the category adaptation adapted than Little Women. But JoJo's still got a good script.
No, if you're gonna say it that way, I completely agree. I wish there was 2 winners for this because you are completely right. Personal favorite, I loved Jojo Rabbit. I think it's my kind of humor, my kind of way I'm able to perceive certain things the way they did it. But Little Women was such a huge, breath of fresh air. And it's so funny that sometimes when I talked about the book Little Women to other people, they're like, oh, that old school book, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. But it's so, oh my God, how do I even say it? It will live on through generations how this movie was made. It feels like it's so modern for it being a period piece, you know? And I remember just watching this movie and I'm just like, yep, wow. As a woman, I am just I remember feeling this certain way when I was a kid, or being able to just, you are right. You know what? Now that we're talking, I think I do prefer Little Women now more than Jojo Rabbit, now that I'm thinking about it. Because like you said, even just the ending alone. And it's funny, for those who have read Little Women, let me tell you, the movie, you have to watch it for the ending, because it was just a huge fuck yeah moment for women power also at the same time. But it still stays true to the essence of the book.
And to the author,
And it's so, it's a beautiful love story. It's a beautiful love note to the author, to Greta Gerwig, to the just women in general.
Yep.
So fucking good.
Yeah, exactly.
You are right. Never mind. I changed my mind.
And then we go to, and now I'm going to use the same logic for adapted in the original screenplay, which the nominees are Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, why? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
it's a good screenplay.
And Parasite. It's not a good original screenplay.
Well, I prefer us to be nominated as original screenplay other than 1917.
The Lighthouse had a better original screenplay.
Actually, you know what? You are right. Okay, you are right. Here's the thing that
Uncut Gems. That's another one whose screenplay I think is far better than 1917.
Here's the thing that you know what's weird? It's because 1917 has such a very basic premise that it's when you see movies like Uncut Gems or Us or the other ones that you were mentioning, it's there's so much more that was put into the screenplay than 1917, which is not to knock down the talent and how beautiful the movie 1917, beautiful, if that's the right word to say, but you are right.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have cried if that one wasn't nominated for this category.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that they, I saw this this questionnaire. I think it was around 200 critics. They asked who would you vote for in these for this year's 92nd Academy Award ceremony, and for original screenplay, 1917 received out of 200 critics 0.
Wow.
but
they had to throw it in there, I guess, because it's a prestigious war movie.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. But the thing is that for original screenplay, I'm applying the same logic. Original. What was the most original screenplay? And even though I love Rian Johnson's work for Knives Out, in terms of originality, there was no movie that was more original in 2019 than Parasite.
I have never seen a movie like Parasite before. Ever. I did not know. And I think we did the best thing for anyone who still hasn't watched Parasite and you haven't really Googled about it. Please don't. Just watch it, rent it, do whatever you got to do. Because you will know. Because if you watch the movie without knowing what it's about, you will understand what we mean by original.
Yes.
It is so fucking original. But now, when it comes to what I enjoyed the most personally, yes, I did love Knives Out. It was so cleverly done, but we have seen movies like that before. You know, just like what we talked about with one of our previous episodes with SOSN, Knives Out and Clue. So it's stuff like that has been done before. But Parasite was so original and so unique. This movie deserves to be recognized.
Yeah, and I think that and bear in mind, it's a film it's a foreign language film, which isn't like one of those regular films. So I'm a little bit worried that maybe some of the Oscar voters will be like, not in English, not gonna vote for it. And they'll
I think it's gonna win.
They might maybe choose Once Upon a Time in Hollywood instead. But I'm gonna go with my gut instinct, and I think Parasite will pick it up.
Well, Parasite has won other the awards for original screenplay.
It actually won at the Writers Guild for Best Original Screenplay. It also won at the British Academy Awards.
So I do think that at least when it comes to the screenplay, people are recognizing the fact of how clever and original it is.
Yeah.
So I do hope that the Oscars does not disappoint in this one. Mm-hmm. That this is the person who wrote this screenplay is
Bong Joon-ho.
He's so fucking good in this, and I hope he wins.
I hope so, too.
Because it's so good.
Speaking of disappointments, let's look at Best Achievement in Directing. And the nominees being Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Bong Joon-ho, aforementioned Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, and Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now,
let me pull this up. Hold on. I got something to say when it comes to that. So, where is Lulu Wang for The Farewell? Where's Greta Gerwig for Little Women? Mm-hmm. And yes. I'm gonna butcher the last name on this one. Melina Matsoukas for Queen and Slim, Cassie Lemons for Harriet, Lorraine Faria for Hustlers, mm-hmm. Yes. And Marielle Heller for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and Alma Harrell for Honey Boy. Where were they?
And let's not stop there.
Where were they?
Let's not stop there. Robert Eggers for The Lighthouse, Rian Johnson for Knives Out. I'd argue, what about the Safdie brothers for Uncut Gems, or Jordan Peele's his sophomoric effort for Us? The list goes on and on and on of people who, I take a look at this and it's like you got the real deal in Scorsese, and then you got Todd Phillips, and it's like, no. Any of those aforementioned names, and quite frankly, I think that any of those aforementioned names deserved it over Sam Mendes as well for 1917.
I'm sorry. Also, Martin Scorsese, I could take him out of that one right there. I'm sorry. I could. But only because it's the same principle that I put Kathy Bates in. He's always bringing such good that I feel like he needs to do something, which is weird, extra. It's like he's always so good that it's like, okay, we know you're good. That's such a disservice to him already, which sounds so weird. So I would have put Greta Gerwig instead of Irishman. I would have put the one. Oh my God, what was her name again? Sorry, let me pull up the thing. From A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Marielle Heller.
Yeah, I would have put her instead of Joker. Yeah, I would have put those two, or Lauren Scafaria for Hustlers. I would have put her instead of Joker as well.
I think for my nominees for best directing and achievement, if I can only get 5, because I usually do 10. Why? Because they're my awards, damn it. But if it was just 5, I would definitely go with Bong Joon-ho.
Oh yes,
Greta Gerwig, Martin Scorsese, Robert Eggers, and then Mariel Heller. Those are the 5 that I would have chosen. For those 5, but like I said, I usually do 10. So,
yeah.
But
So,
I mean, but of these, I would definitely vote in a heartbeat for Parasite, because that was the best, not only the best original screenplay, but it was also the best achievement in directing. But I have a feeling that the Academy is going to go for flashy, and they're going to go for Sam Mendes' work for 1917, which is funny because he won his first Oscar 20 years ago for American Beauty, and then he wasn't nominated since, and then 20 years later, he gets a second nomination and will most likely get his second win. How funny is that? But
yeah, out of the ones who were nominated, Parasite, without a shadow of a doubt, again, because of the kind of movie it is and how original it is, to be able to direct the actors in the way that he did, to say the story that he did. I'm trying to say this without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Is such an achievement that
in directing.
In directing, no, like you will see when you see this movie and you see just the storyline develop and even the characters develop within the story, you cannot not give props to the director for this movie. Like actually, you can't not give props to anyone who worked on this movie. Like you have to give them props. Like all of them, this whole team effort is in the directing, the actors, the cinematography, everything. It's just so fucking well done that I am surprised. I already know I'm gonna be pissed when this movie does not win directing, and it better win directing. I hope it does.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's not, and I don't want to take away from Sam Mendes' work on 1917.
No, I like that. I love that movie.
It's the thing is that it's okay work. It's fine work, but it's ultimately at the end of the day, I just don't think that his direction for that movie was as good or as well suited as opposed to your wonderful praising of Bong Joon-ho's work on Parasite. That was much more in terms of directing achievement. Bong Joon-ho did a far superior job than Sam Mendes.
Do you think that maybe we're in the era where obviously we want more diversity, but it's also in the sense that people start wanting to like when it comes to 1917, it's not to shoot down that it was a bad film, because it was a good film, but because we always see movies like this, that now when new things are coming out that actually shows diversity and representation, that we're like, see, look, there is something more than just a war movie. Like we can say other stories, say the same thing in different ways. Why aren't we giving them credit too? Because we always see movies like 1917.
Yeah,
we always see movies like, I'm sorry, like I know The Irishman, which I loved. We do always see movies like that. Always. The Irishman, it is kind of iffy with what I just said, because there are certain things in that movie that I was so blown away by, but I'm more used to movies like The Irishman than I am with Parasite or Us or Little Women or Jojo Rabbit, or Knives Out. Like those are new, refreshing, things.
Yeah. I understand that, but I'd make the argument that the difference is with Scorsese, how he directs The Irishman as opposed to how Sam Mendes directs 1917, and that is Scorsese understands what the movie's about. He understands how to get the performances out of his actors. He understands the technical difficulties in a movie like The Irishman, and in particular the fact that he goes through the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all those multiple decades, and to consistently direct those actors, directing children and all that. That's what he does. That Scorsese's direction for The Irishman is far superior than what Sam Mendes does. But I do understand what you mean in terms of 1917, and that I do agree with that, because for a war movie, because a couple years ago there was a film called Dunkirk that I think is a far superior film than 1917 in terms of what Christopher Nolan was trying to do in terms of making a war movie. With 1917, I just was watching and going, okay, we get this. It feels more of a gimmick as opposed to it feeling like it's authentic and real and true.
You know, it's weird to say because it's like I actually thoroughly enjoyed. Why am I mispronouncing things? I'm mispronouncing things today. Like I'm sorry, I'm so sleepy.
You kind of remind me of Chris Jericho, how he would sometimes
enjoyed. I actually enjoyed 1917. Shut up. Sorry, guys. I'm on medication. My mouth is dry. Not that I was on antibiotics. It's been hitting me weird because I was sick. Because stupid nasty virus. Anyways, point being that I did enjoy 1917, but you did bring up a point when it came to that. It's like, what was it that you said right now? That
ultimately the thing with 1917 is just it's. In this day and age, especially coming off of this year, 2019, it just seems like really that's
generic.
The movie?
It's generic, but it's not to knock down the talent from that happened with like again the technical achievement for that movie, like having to do it like, because what was a one shot?
The idea of it being one shot,
yeah.
And even then, it's the one shot was kind of boring. At times.
I will disagree with you. I feel that the one shot really served the purpose of the story. However, it is something that is not new enough to wow me.
Yeah, because Alfred Hitchcock did it in 1948, I believe, with a movie called Rope.
I have not seen it. But I guess it's just, I don't know, just technically, like, if I see that movie, like, without sound or whatever, and I see it playing on TV, I'll be like, it's a generic war movie. Mm-hmm. It's talented, but it is generic.
Yeah.
So it's like, comparing it to all the other ones that it was nominated against, and even the ones that weren't nominated, they should have been. It pales by comparison,
And that actually leads us to the big enchilada, and that's Best Picture. So we got Ford versus Ferrari. We have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Parasite, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the thing is that I know I have a feeling I'm going to have egg all over my face because my mind logic dictates, okay, it's got to go to 1917 because 1917 won the PGA, it won the DGA, it won a number of British Academy Awards, but I'm thinking in terms of passion, and that is, I remember when at the Screen Actors Guild Awards when Parasite won for Best Ensemble, the place erupted.
Yeah. Because it was so well deserved. So well deserved. So it's like, again, talking about originality and where Hollywood is going and how this list, even though there was a lot of diversity taken out, what I loved about this past year is that it showed the potential of where Hollywood could be headed, right? So when we're looking at the Best Picture nominees, it does show that we're slowly getting there when it comes to diversity in the sense of like Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi, like, a man of color, making this very off-color type of movie. Like it's so diverse and something that we're used to seeing.
Yep.
Little Women, female-driven, women-directed, such a beautiful story. And Parasite, again, just one of the most original movies I have ever seen. And I will even say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a little out there a little bit, it's especially towards the end. It's fucking hilarious. So I do love the diversity in that way, but Parasite by far deserves to win this movie. Because I feel, again, if you're, check it off the list. Let's just think of Parasite. Mm-hmm. Picture, it's so well good. Directed, it's so well directed. The actors in the movie and the actresses are so fucking good. It's so original in its screenplay. The costume designs, I mean, like, yes, it's...
even its production design. They built beautiful. The house from the ground up.
Exactly. The cinematography, it served its purpose for the film.
It's sound mixing.
Exactly. So it's like... This movie's so well-rounded, and you can check off each category and be like, yup. So it's, how can it not win?
Because it's not one of those regular movies.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is that I would say, like, you know what? It isn't a regular movie. It's an extraordinary movie.
Thank you.
And that's why I know that logic dictates that it's going to be 1917, but I just hope that Parasite will overcome that nonsense over, oh, it's in a foreign language, I'm not going to fall for it, it's not a regular movie.
Yeah.
And that I hope that it's able to do what Roma unfortunately wasn't able to do last year, and that is be the very first film in a non-English language to win Best Picture. And I think it's got the opportunity to do so.
True. Okay, so let's just go really quick through some of the other small categories in here that we know that we've watched. Animated feature film, we totally think Toy Story 4 is going to go, win it all on that one.
I don't know. Now
I think Toy Story 4.
Well, I'm thinking because of Klaus having that well, then again, follow the money. Toy Story 4 made the most money.
That's what I'm saying.
But I take a look at Klaus though, because that film won at the British Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature. It won a number of Annie Awards. That's the animation equivalent of the Oscars. It's don't sleep on Klaus. I got a feeling that could upset.
That's true. Sound mixing, 1917, Joker, Ford versus Ferrari, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Ad Astra.
Don't care. Lighthouse should have been nominated.
It should have been nominated, but when it comes to the ones that were, Ad Astra by far, it was really good. I think the sound mixing in that movie served the movie so fucking well, especially like those times where like the noise was isolated and you could hear only what his breath, and it was so fucking good.
I'm thinking that for the sound categories, I'm either thinking they're going to be lazy and check off either that war movie 1917 or that racing movie Ford versus Ferrari, and that's nothing against Ford versus Ferrari. It's just that. Because I love the sound mixing sound editing categories, but I can't deny that I just feel that there were, films that should have taken a look at it in terms of its sound mixing.
True. I don't think we talked about production design. We can just really quickly. Parasite, 1917, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Parasite should win.
Parasite without a shadow of a doubt.
But
Once Upon a Time might win because of the nostalgia in Hollywood and the Oscars.
But Jojo is a period piece, and
I fucking love Jojo Wabbit.
Jojo Wabbit.
Jojo Wabbit. But honestly, I'm not going to hate any of these winning, but I my personal favorite, I do love Parasite.
Yeah, I will say 1917, people wonder, well, why is that nominated for production design? When you see it, because of the fact it's one take, it's definitely understandable why it's a production designer, production design nominee.
I loved it. Original score, 1917, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, and Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. The only thing it was nominated in. Was it the only thing or no?
No, it was the sound editing and visual effects.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, dingus.
Excuse me. But yeah, so original score.
I'd vote for Little Women in a heartbeat, although I love Randy Newman's score for Marriage Story. I thought
you're starting to speak like me. Can I speak right?
Randy Norton. I found that very enjoyable, but I think it's going to go to Joker.
Most likely. Original song, I'm Standing With You, Into the Unknown. That's from Frozen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Stand Up.
Is that from Harriet?
I think so. I'm Gonna Love Me Again.
That's from Rocket Man.
I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away.
Toy Story 4 is Randy Newman, so he's going to perform.
Which was I'm Standing With You? Which one's that one? What movie is that from?
Oh, that's the one with Chrissy Metz where the kid goes in the water, the frozen water. It's the Christian movie.
Bloop. Oh my God, David.
I don't know. I think maybe Rocket Man because of Elton John, I suppose.
I love...
Now that's a movie that also got snubbed.
Yes.
It should have been deserved, like for its mix, for its sound mixing, for its makeup, for its costume design. I blame Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, okay. Rocket Man is one of the most brilliant biopics I have ever seen. It's so cleverly done and so originally done. Like because I remember when it first was announcing I was doing it. I remember telling you, and I was like, I don't want to fucking watch it. I hate fucking biopics. I fucking hate them with a passion because they're never original. It's like, okay, yeah, follow them. Yeah, we get it. Yeah, drug use, whatever. But then when we started watching this and I was like, whoa, I'm sorry, wait. Is this a biopic, David? And you're like, just watch. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And I mean this in a good way. And I'm just like, holy fuck. Oh, you have no idea. This movie actually made me fall in love with Elton John all over again. Yep. You have no idea. So it's like, it should have been nominated for more than it was.
And sorry to Taron Egerton because your performance was far superior than Rami Malek's for Bohemian Rhapsody.
I personally can't say anything because I didn't even bother watching Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm so mad. Just at the fact that they wanted to ignore the fact that he was an openly gay man. I'm like, I'm not going to watch a biopic when you're fucking just not even actually talking about him and you're trying to make your look good.
Quick story about that was I was able to do this because of music biopics and how they pretty much follow, paint by numbers and step by step. I was able to. I had a friend over listening to the show, Chris. Hi, Chris. That I said, Chris, because he saw the movie, he hated it, Bohemian Rhapsody. And I go, I bet you, I could tell you everything that happened in the movie without seeing it. At the time, I didn't see it, and so I told him. And then Chris goes, get the fuck out. You saw it. And I was like, no, you saw it, didn't you? No, I got it right, according to Chris. And then I sat down and finally watched it. And I was like, I got it.
That's fucking hilarious.
And what an awful, awful sign that is for a movie, that you're able to just like that.
And it's funny that I only watched one scene on YouTube. And I thought it was YouTube poop. Like, I literally thought, I'm like, what is this? And I even asked him, like, is this really how it's edited? And you're like, yep. I'm like, fuck this shit. If I was so annoyed at a fucking 5-minute clip, I cannot imagine watching the whole fucking movie. I can't.
And that film won Best Film Editing.
That's bullshit.
Over Black Klansman, over The Favorite. Oh.
You want to talk about category fraud? Okay, because I know you have something to say about this one.
What's that?
Visual effects, Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, and 1917, The Irishman, and Star Wars: The Rise of the Skywalker.
The
Rise of the Skywalker.
The Rise of the Skywalker. The thing is, The Lion King should not be nominated because that is, except for one shot, everything else is animated. So for me, that disqualifies it. You go in Best Animated. Although technically there were animated films nominated for its visual effects, like Tim Burton's The Night Before Christmas.
But that's stop motion. Isn't that different? Because you actually are having a camera shoot an object and you have to move it. So isn't that not animation? That's different.
Well, I mean,
that's
it
visual effects. It's animation, yes, but it's
because of the live action portion of it.
Exactly, but these are not live action except the fucking sunrise. It's with the Lion King. So I personally think that hijo de tu puta madre, I can't talk today. The Irishman will win, and I personally do love that.
I think I would vote for The Irishman, but I have a feeling that the Oscar voters are just going to check off 1917, which is once again the visual effects are effective in that you don't see the seams. But the thing is that for me, in terms of visual effects, I feel the visual effects for The Irishman were far more successful in terms of conveying the story and the emotion of the characters far more than 1917.
The reason why I, without a shadow of a doubt, wish The Irishman will win is because, yes, there are moments where you can tell, but for the most part, I kept forgetting Robert De Niro was not that young. Yeah. I remember even I told you, I just randomly hit you in the middle of the movie and I was like, oh shit, yeah. He's older than this, right? What just happened? Are we watching a movie that's just came out, right? This isn't an old movie. It was so well done.
Yeah, exactly.
So, The Lion King okay, now let's just say that, The Lion King is in the right category, blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you, whoever worked on this movie, you guys, kudos to you. It's so very detailed and beautiful, but I would not put it in visual effects because it deserved the story so much. It took away from the story so fucking much because how can you animate something that looks so live that it takes away from the feelings of the characters, and it's I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
It just proves that the 1994 original is far superior than this because it goes to show you that the animator's stroke of the pencil or the pen is far superior than the clickety click of a computer in this example.
I won't say superior. It's just the style of animation does a disservice to the movie, which again, you guys can hear all our thoughts.
All our farts. Congratulations,
Salome, God.
On a hard fart victory.
It's one of those days, David.
Just one of those days.
No, but if you guys really want to hear our thoughts on the movie, it's our first episode of SOSN.
Yep. Available in the archives.
Yeah, so definitely check that out if you can hear more about what we're trying to say about this movie. But when it comes to the visual effects, for me, The Irishman was more superior. But whatever.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Oscar ceremony,
I'm gonna watch.
as we wrap this up by wrapping it up, is there anything that you're looking forward to? Not in terms of winners, but the ceremony itself.
I am waiting for more people to speak up. I'm really, really looking forward to Joaquin Phoenix, because I'm pretty sure he's going to win. I'm looking forward to what else he has to say, because I personally think I'm like, oh, you thought that he called them out at the BAFTAs? Oh, just wait at the Oscars. You know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
And I feel that like it's an ally that is very important in the terms of speaking up about diversity, especially acknowledging the fact that many actors right there are so privileged to not even understand the fact that they are privileged. But also I am really, really looking forward to the winnings of very well-deserved diversity within the industry. Like I said, I feel that this past year, when it comes to movies, has shown the potential that Hollywood can be. Even though a lot of them that I wish weren't nominated, I feel that's really going to be the tune of the ceremony. The fact that all these great movies will not be forgotten because they weren't nominated. You know what I mean? And I cannot wait to see Parasite win and show people out there that these stories, not just because they are foreign films that they should be heard, it's just they happen to be foreign film movies. They happen to be done by people of color. But look at how clever, look at how beautiful stories can be told if you just let us tell them.
Yep.
You know?
I'm looking forward to somebody going up there and saying, we are so sorry for last year. You know, Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody. We're so sorry. But no, seriously, though, it's like, I'm looking forward to, and I know a lot of folks don't care for the montage clips and such, but I love the clips. I love, like, sometimes when I hope that one thing they bring back is, I love it whenever they describe the category and they give you examples of like why this got nominated for its costumes or its productions or its visual effects, to actually show you the behind the scenes stuff. I love that because or my personal favorite was a couple years ago, like for the sound mixing, it was like with Mad Max and Star Wars and The Revenant, and they showed like for sound editing, so it was like stuff like really cute, funny stuff like that. But and also I'm actually, if anything in particular, I kind of am waiting to see. I want to see. How this will lead to next year's Oscars, because they're going to get the ball rolling for some campaign. Like, for example, Billie Eilish is going to perform the In Memoriam section for the Oscars.
They're getting her ready for the James Bond song.
Yeah, because she's going to write that, and her
and her brother Phineas.
Yeah, that's right now. That's the default frontrunner, unless the song stinks on ice,
which I highly doubt. Like, here's the thing though, like, I don't care how many people shit on Billie Eilish, but also her brother Phineas is such a talented producer, and what he does, I think this song is going to be a perfect hit.
I will say that somebody suggested, why don't she perform her new song for the Oscar stage? Well, first of all, if she's going to perform it this year and then she's got to perform it again next year, that ain't going to happen. And second, this is a James Bond movie, and most James Bond songs involve the word die. So I don't think if she's going to do that for the In Memoriam, it's like, you're going to die, James Bond, die, and then look at all these people that died. Kirk Douglas is dead, die. Aww. Oh, speaking of which, it's like, I think we got to
Speaking of which, Kirk Douglas is dead.
It's like, he's going to be the last one in the In Memoriam.
Oh, well,
yes, he is.
Are you sure?
I'm confident.
Kobe was also, an Oscar winner.
But Kirk Douglas is in terms of movies.
Which, side note, I mean, now that we mentioned, we do, like, our hearts do go out to the families, like Kirk Douglas's family that we just found a few days ago that passed away.
I love you, Spartacus.
Oh my gosh. Also, Kobe Bryant and his daughter. Hearts go out to their families and the loved ones also that were in the helicopter. That's really, really sad. Because the reason I bring that up also is because that was a really nice Oscar win from last time when Kobe won. So, I mean, I know we're all joking and all that stuff, but it is a sad thing, and our hearts do go out to the families.
I did have a morbid thought, and that
of course you did,
and not in relation to,
of course you did.
Not in relations to the deaths of Kobe Bryant or Kirk Douglas, no whatsoever. Okay. That's this. I wonder who's going to be the actors or the directors or whoever who gets snubbed from the In Memoriam, and then the next day everyone's like, that person wasn't there. What's wrong with you?
Like who? Who do you think would get snubbed?
I don't know.
That's major, I should say.
There's always going to be like a couple of them that people are going to get upset over.
Who was the most major snub when it comes to that? Well, this is so weird. Like, out of all the things to be snubbed, I'd rather be snubbed in this category because I don't want to be fucking dead. But like, who was the biggest snub?
I don't know about the biggest snub per se, but I know one that in particular that got me a little sad was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid was Oliver. And the actor who played Fagin, who was nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, was Ron Moody. And that's one of my favorite performances. Not just musical performance, one of my favorite performances, period. I love Ron Moody's work. And he was, as I stated, Oscar nominee, right? Mm-hmm. Snubbed. And I thought, wait a minute.
That's actually weird. Okay.
He got nominated for an Oscar, so he would make the most sense, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, nope, you get snubbed.
That sucks. Well, on that note.
So anyways, yes, everyone, I hope you all enjoy the Oscars. We will be back next week with a new episode where we will talk about the Oscars ceremony. Yeah. Where it's like what our thoughts were.
SOSN, the Oscars, the aftermath.
Yes, exactly. And we will be back with more content. We're sorry, ladies and germs, that we weren't as frequent as often. It's like, that's what happened. It's like life gets in the way. So get out of the way, life. Get out of the way.
Well, no, I mean, stay. I want my life to stay, but screw you. But
no, life, come back.
But no, yeah, like, yes, we did have to take a hiatus, but we are back. We have been working on new ideas for the podcast. We will obviously have our original format, the SOSN, something old, something new, but also we do have new things on the horizon, special episodes, special editions of SOSN. So please keep an eye out for that. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter, SOSN Podcast. Please tell your friends and your family about these podcasts too.
SOSN the t-shirt, SOSN the toilet paper, SOSN the flamethrower.
SOSN, so shitty. Oh my God, that could be merchandise. I love it. Exactly. But anyways, yeah, like I said, just keep a lookout for all the other new stuff. We're so excited.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is Salome.
And this is David.
Bye.
And have fun in the Oscars. And if you're there, the Oscar ceremonies, please run on stage and say Green Book sucks.